District School Board Parent, Family, and Community Engagement and Advisory Committee, also known as PEAC. My other co-chair is Tina Sharma, who could not attend this evening. Cameras will be off to support the bandwidth. We will also have the microphones turned off to support facilitation. You may enable captions and language translation at the bottom right of your screen. If you would like to ask a question, please place your question in the Ask a Question feature, and we will address questions at the end of the information session. If you require technical support, please contact our support hotline directly at 905-900-1166. We would like to begin in a good way by reading our land acknowledgement. We affirm that we are all treaty people and acknowledge that the York Region District School Board is located on the lands of 2 treaties. These treaties have been signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the First Nations of the Williams Treaties, who are the Mississaugas of Alderville, Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Scugog Island, and the Chippewas of Beausoleil, Rama, and Georgina Island, who is our closest neighbor and partner in education. To honor this agreement, we will take up our responsibility to be respectful of their traditions, knowledge, and inherent rights as sovereign nations. We will respect their relationship with these lands and recognize that our connection to this land is through the continued relationship with these First Nations. And we acknowledge our shared responsibility to respect and care for the land and waters for future generations. Our agenda for the evening is as follows. Start with the welcome introductions, readings from the board, PEAC mandate and expectations, selection team roles and responsibilities, selection process timelines, guiding principles, selection criteria, post-process, and then questions and answers. We're so very pleased to have you here with us tonight, and we're grateful to you for taking the time to learn about becoming a PEAC member. We all understand that parent engagement matters, and student achievement and well-being is enriched when parents play an active role in their child's education. The Parent, Family, Community Engagement Advisory Committee supports, engages, and enhances parent engagement within YRDSB. It is our pleasure, on behalf of the PEAC members, to welcome you as interested applicants to this evening's information session. At this time, I would like to introduce you to the PEAC team supporting this process. We have Trustee Jenny Chen, who sends her regrets as she's unable to make it this evening. Todd Dunphy, Associate Director of Leadership and Schools. Our Leadership Development and Engagement team, Dr. Tanya Sterling, Superintendent. Joanne Richardson, Administrative Assistant. Lindsay Diacu, Principal. Tanya So, Associate Manager. I will now pass the presentation over to Associate Director Todd Dungy.
Good evening, folks, and thank you very much for being here this evening and showing and demonstrating your interest in potentially becoming a PEAC member. It's through your involvement as interested and engaged parents that help to keep us both informed as providing us with background and information, as well as really critical feedback from the parents right across York Region. This evening, I am here as the Associate Director for Leadership and Schools, and I have the pleasure and honor of working with our PEAC committee, as well as with the trustee representative on PEAC, who is Trustee Jenny Chen. She represents wards 1 and 8, but through her role as the trustee representative on PEAC, she represents all parents right across the system. Unfortunately, Jenny Chen is unable to join us this evening, but she certainly shares her warm welcome, as well as appreciation for your interest in PEAC overall. And if we next slide, please. I apologize. this next slide on the PEAC mandate. I can't quite see the screen, but we'll go with the assumption that you can see it. So I just want to share with everybody the mandate of the Parent and Family Engagement Advisory. It is parent engagement at board level in order to improve student achievement and well-being. Our core business is teaching and supporting students in their achievement, in their learning, or overall well-being. And parent voice is critical for our success in doing so. PEAC shall also achieve its purpose by providing information and advice on parent engagement to the board, by communicating with and supporting school councils of the board, by undertaking activities to help parents of pupils of the board in support of their children's learning at home and at school. And it's an absolutely critical role our parent members play, being members on PEAC, in helping to both advise and provide us with critical feedback. And the next slide, please. And this is what to expect as a PEAC member. So we want to ensure that for any parent that's coming forward that are going to put their name in and apply for one of the positions on PEAC, we really want to ensure that you have a very clear understanding and recognition of what the role is and the expectations for participation on it. Some of the key aspects to it are, one is that the PEAC members must attend a minimum of 5 meetings every year at Education Center in Aurora, or virtually, as we've been doing throughout the pandemic and following the pandemic, with the first meeting for new membership being scheduled on November 9th, 2023. Number of years, our PEAC members have attended pretty much every single meeting, recognizing there's only 5 throughout the year, really ensuring that their voice is coming forward and being heard. And we do continue to leverage the ability to meet virtually, but we also recognize our shift more into meeting face-to-face once again to be able to really engage folks on site at EC Aurora. In terms of volunteering, beyond the actual committee, there's a number of subcommittees that we do have, and we ask that members participate in and volunteer for. One of those is the Bylaw Review Committee, our Communications Hubs Committee, the Steering Committee, Member Selection, which we do a review of each year and participate in helping to select the following year's members, as well as the School Council Forum and PEAC Regional Symposium. 2 activities that our PEAC members have been heavily involved in helping to provide the guidance, planning, the prioritization of what it is that we bring forward at both the forums as well as the Regional Symposium. And with that, I will turn it over to Principal Diacu.
I would like to speak to you about our current PEAC members and who supports the team. We have, as you can see on your screen, the names of our current PEAC members are listed there. I won't read them all out to you, but we do have the PEAC membership consists of parents, community members, trustees, and YRDSB staff. We have 12 parent members and 2 community members, a trustee representative who Mr. Dungy has already spoken about, Trustee Chen, and an alternative trustee representative, Trustee Butterworth. We also have very many YRDSB staff members in various different roles, supporting and working alongside our PEAC members. So, and Todd has already mentioned the many subcommittees that the membership is involved with, as well as attending the 5 meetings, formal PEAC meetings a year. Next slide. So currently, not every position is open every single year for membership applications. Currently, we are receiving PEAC applications for the following areas. We have 1 opening in CEC Elementary Central. CEC East Elementary has 2 openings. CEC East Secondary has 1 opening. CEC West Elementary has 1 opening. CEC North Elementary has 1 opening. And CEC North Secondary has 1 opening. Interested applicants are asked to apply to the school area of your respective school And if you're unsure of the school area that your home school resides in, please refer to the Community Education Center, and the link should be shared in the chat for you. It will also be part of the slide deck as well. So I would like to now turn it over to Superintendent Dr. Tanya Sterling.
Everyone, really great to have you here this evening to learn more about PEAC and the membership selection process. As has been outlined, there are a number of openings across the 4 CECs. And so as a membership selection committee, we are looking very forward to reviewing submissions for interested parent and community members to come forward. Our selection team consists of our trustee, as the associate director and or senior staff, parent members, and also a community representative. Next slide, please. We also want to outline the timeframes. So those of you who have been maybe standing by and visiting our board's public website, that includes a section for our PEAC page. The applications went live last week, and today is our information session. They will close, I believe, in, I believe it's June the 14th is when the applications will close. That will give us some time as a committee to gather all the information, sort them by CECs based on where the vacancies are. And in July and August, the members of the selection team subcommittee on PEAC, that's one of those volunteer committees, we'll get together and we will engage in some anti-bias and human rights and anti-discrimination training and review the applications based on the criteria set out in the application. That happens throughout the summer months, and we're very grateful for the PEAC team members who give us their time and engage in that review process. Reference checks will be done in late August, and the candidates are notified of their status through the process in terms of those who have been selected in the week of October the 2nd. The board approval of the PEAC membership takes place in early October, and the new member orientation will take place October the 5th this year, 2023. Our first PEAC meeting for those new members to join our committee will be on November the 9th. So now at this time, I'm going to pass it back over to Todd. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanya. You both some of the guiding principles to the process for the selection of the PEAC members, as well as the actual selection criteria. About 6 years ago, we underwent a very extensive review of the selection process with the goal and intention to ensure that we had a process that was both equitable and inclusive of all members. As Dr. Sterling had identified in the previous slide, in order to be able to achieve that, one of the things that all members will go through is receiving anti-discrimination and hiring practice to really ensure that the process will lead to equitable and inclusive outcomes. But we also want to make sure, going beyond that, that the process itself is transparent and that we communicate it widely so that it reduces any surprises or conditions where people are unaware of what is being asked or expected. The process itself is reviewed annually by the membership subcommittee to identify any areas of improvement or growth that we need to consider and implement in the process itself. Comply with requisite regulations outlined by the PEAC bylaws as we make the recommendations to trustees. The participation and members on each of our advisory committees, whether it be EAC, CEAC, or PEAC, they do go officially to trustees once the selection process is completed for their final approval. We also want to ensure that all applicant information is kept confidential, and that's an incredibly important part that we take extremely seriously. We recognize that there is some information that you're providing that we want to ensure all aspects of it is kept completely confidential, and that the records are maintained that way. We want to ensure that the evaluation of each candidate is based solely on the established criteria, and that all notes are limited to the suitability of the candidate based on that particular criteria. So we focus on that criteria and just that criteria so that each individual is assessed in the same manner. And then we also ensure that we provide feedback to applicants specific to their application upon request at the conclusion of the process. So we want to ensure that we have that opportunity for folks, if they have put their name forward but been unsuccessful, that there is some rationale and feedback to each of those individuals that occurs. In terms of the selection criteria itself, there are four main areas that we conduct the assessment against. The first of those are global communication skills. So looking at an individual's ability to communicate effectively for a variety of purposes, audiences, and cultures through a variety of different, whether they be text, spoken word, social media, online environments. An individual's productivity skills, which we identify as things such as demonstration of initiative, planning, organization, time management. Community collaboration and consultation skills, the way in which candidates will reach out, work with others, engaging in critical analysis, relationship building, problem solving, partnerships, advocacy, allyship, all within a teamwork framework, as well as being ambassadors for diverse identities of students, parents, guardians, and community members. Recognizing that we want to ensure that the PEAC membership is representative to the greatest degree possible of the identities across your region and throughout all of our schools. And with that, I will happily turn it back over to Lindsay.
Thank you, Todd. So when preparing your application, we would like to make the following recommendations to support you in the process. Reflect on the selection criteria that is embedded in the application itself and that has been spoken to this evening, and that look carefully at the competencies and the skills that the selection criteria will be assessing. Ensure that the look-fors are incorporated into your application and your references. Share the criteria with your references to support that alignment between all of your application or all of the aspects of your application forms. And make sure that your application packages are ready to be reviewed based on the selection criteria by the selection committee. And I will go to the next slide. After the process is completed, there is candidate feedback provided and will be delivered as per the following guidelines. Feedback is to be provided to all applicants specific to their application upon request and at the conclusion of the process. It is facilitated by the board staff, conducted by phone, and upon request by the candidate at the conclusion of the selection process. And I'll pass it back to Tanya Sterling.
Thanks very much. So, in summary, then, we look really forward to hopefully seeing your application, and would really love the opportunity to open it up for some questions if there are any this evening. Applications are due on June the 14th by 11:59 p.m. So, plan accordingly, don't leave it to the last minute. We all have that tendency sometimes. But again, if you run into any hiccups along the way, we have board staff that is really able to help you to ensure that if you are interested, that we can get your application in on time. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Please visit our board PEAC webpage. And to submit your application, you'll use the online application form. It's pretty easy to follow, and there are actually some ability to translate into multiple languages if you so require. And so for a copy of the application, you can email leadership development and engagement at YRDSB.ca, or you can call us and be happy to provide a digital copy if you have any challenges as well. And with that, I'm going to open it up for the section of our agenda this evening, which is for some Q&A. And we have had a few questions come in. So I will start with the first one, and maybe I will ask my colleague, Lindsay, to help me with some of these questions. So one of the questions we have, Principal Diacu, is what types of experiences should I include on the application? Just school-based experiences, or can work-related experiences count too? Lindsay?
Thank you, Tanya. Absolutely, all of your life lived experience is relevant in this case. You do not have to have a solely school-based resume or application in order to apply for this position. We are looking for a broad range of experiences, and the more broad range of the experiences, the more richer and deeper the work that we do becomes. So we welcome all types of experiences, not just school-based. You do not have to be a member of your school council in order to apply for PEAC.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. Okay, another question that we have here. Is there any training or orientation for new members? And maybe I can ask Kathy, what did you think?
Yeah, sure. I loved the orientation. I found that it was very informative. So I do feel that the board helps set you up for success in this role. And there's also a very supportive group of PEAC members. What's really interesting about this position is that there is crossover. So each CEC does have multiple members, and you have your position for a 2-year term, which means that there's always somebody who's been there before you. And I find that the group of individuals that you're working with, they're really there to see everyone succeed for the betterment of our school board as a whole.
Okay, thanks very much, Kathy. I have this one for Todd. I wonder if you might be able to give us your perspective on this one, Todd. Do PEAC members have influence on decisions at the board level?
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Tanya, and whoever submitted that one. The short answer is yes. There's a number of opportunities as a member of PEAC and collectively as the PEAC group around that folks do have influence, input into a number of different areas, whether that be gathering information or feedback related to some budget deliberations, with our policies and procedures that go through cyclical reviews. Each meeting we identify at the conclusion of PEAC those policies and procedures that are available and open for feedback through the general public, but specifically we're seeking input from PEAC members having that opportunity for voice. We've also facilitated some direct feedback for policies and procedures from PEAC members as well, and we're looking to continue to facilitate that opportunity so that while we're putting it out to the general public, to families in general, but having PEAC members have that opportunity to provide their perspective and input on policies that are really going to have impact, not just on one school or one child, but all schools and all children across the system. So again, going back to the short answer, yes, there are, and there always will be.
Thanks very much, Todd. I know we really relied heavily on input to help inform, for instance, the keynote speaker for the regional parent symposium that just took place. So again, lots of opportunity to help inform decisions and actually co-plan and co-facilitate events as well. So we really value the voice of parents, families, and community members through this advisory committee. Okay, I have another question. Is this a volunteer position or is there remuneration for our work? Who would like to take that one? Well, why don't I take that one? Unfortunately, this is not a paid position. It is a volunteer position. I wish we could pay. We have good food when we can host in person, if that could maybe entice some people to come. But it is a volunteer. Opportunity, and we are again very grateful for the active participation of the members of this particular advisory committee. So I'll go to the next question, and maybe I'll see if Lindsay might be able to weigh in on this, because I know you really work closely with our support staff on helping to coordinate meetings, etc. So what happens if I cannot attend a meeting because I have a scheduling conflict?
Yes, absolutely. We understand life happens, and we are not going to kick you off PEAC if you are unable to attend a meeting. The expectation is that we want your voice, we want you involved, and we would love for you to be able to attend all of our 5 formal PEAC meetings, as well as many subcommittee meetings that you can attend. But we work very hard. Our formal PEAC meetings, those dates are set well ahead of time, but our subcommittee meetings, we try very hard to ensure that we can accommodate everybody on the subcommittee and ensure that they can attend. And if not, we completely understand that life does sometimes happen, and that you have other commitments as well. So not to worry if you need to miss a meeting here or there, because we completely understand.
Yeah, thank you. And if it does happen that you find yourself in that situation, reaching out to us by phone or email to let us know is how that's all managed and supported. So absolutely, like Lindsay said, we understand that sometimes best laid plans aren't able to happen. So okay, here's one. If I am chosen for this role, how will I be notified? So I have the distinct pleasure of being a member of selection committee, but sort of at the tail end. I am the reference checker and the person who gets to make those phone calls to individuals to let them know. So it is a phone call, a personal contact made by myself to welcome you and thank you for submitting your application. So I reach out individually to find a time that's convenient based on your schedule, and we have a phone call conversation. So I think, here's another one. Are the meetings virtual or in person? So throughout this past year, because of the way that our main head office, which is located at a building called EC Aurora, Education Center Aurora on Wellington in Aurora, that location has been becoming outfitted with more technology, and we are still doing our meetings virtually for the PEAC advisory committee meetings throughout this year. As we find out whether or not we're able to allow participation to be in a hybrid way over time, we will be looking to re-engage and potentially come back into that physical space for the advisory committee meetings. So we'll have to just stay tuned on that decision. We did have an in-person orientation session, which is really a nice way for us to build community as a group. So we were, Kathy, if you recall, the last time in November, it was our in-person meeting at another building in Newmarket, where we got to sit and meet in person, and that was a really nice way for us to build community. Like I said, it was for the orientation session and not the broadcast advisory committee meeting per se, but we're still tracking to post that in person, and we'll have to wait and see about the advisory committee meetings themselves once we get the update from IT on the status of our EC Aurora comms plan. So Todd, anything to add about that? I think that's sort of the latest, greatest update on that scene, right?
Yes, we're hoping to be able to face-to-face meeting, but still having meetings accessed virtually, but doing so in a regular manner before the end of the school year with our board of trustees. But we really do want to make sure that we've got all of the technology working and in place. So the plan is for end of this year and then start of next year. And we certainly recognize as well there's that balance between the desire and need meet face-to-face, which brings with it other opportunities for ongoing communication and connection and relationship building, but balancing that against and leveraging some of the advantages of technology where it provides for a greater level of accessibility as well. So certainly our PEAC meetings, the 5 meetings per year, working towards face-to-face, we work through subcommittees appropriate, and what's where some of those may still have some online components to it. Hope that helps.
Yeah, thanks very much, Todd. So with that, everyone, I think that concludes our program for this evening, unless I will just do a last minute check-in with Kathy or Lindsay. Anything further to add or mention to the group before we bid everyone adieu?
No, I don't think so. We were hoping for lots of applications, so
Spread
please,
the word.
if you're with us tonight, please apply.
And for everyone who is applying, I just want to say I wish you the best of luck, and I hope we have an opportunity to work together.
Very well. You have the last word there, Kathy. Good night, everyone, and thanks for being here this evening.